So a while back, I was reading the comments of some videos and I saw this guy. He requested a video talking about how to cope when it feels like you don't have anyone around you. No friends, no family, nothing. So I made this video for anyone feeling like that, especially for you, man. So loneliness is something that is prevalent in our society. We both know this. It's mainly affecting guys, but even women nowadays feel this like sting of isolation. And because of this, people resort to other means like hookups, like AI chatbots, like some sort of fantasy role plays, all these things as substitutes for connection. Because it's not like any of these things actually give these people's lives meaning. It's because they can't get what they really want, which is genuine friendship and connection. Because if they did, I doubt they would be using any of these other things. So, obviously, none of these things are a healthy or good way of coping. Instead, I think there's a much more superior way of doing it. So, for starters, the base of all of this is the thoughts of stoicism. This, I believe, is key in managing any suffering, especially loneliness. So I'm going to be going over a lot of thoughts from stoicism that could be applied to this, to not only see it in a better light, but also to come out of it better. So for starters, and the easiest one to apply is the knowledge that everything is temporary. The sun rising is temporary. It won't be in the sky forever. In fact, it'll eventually die out completely. I, myself, will die one day. My life is not forever, it's temporary. The pain that I would get from stubbing my toe or scraping my knee, of course it would hurt, but it's temporary. Everything is temporary. And of course, that would naturally include loneliness. You see, just that alone changes the perspective from something that will always occur to something that you just need to get through for the moment. That's not all though. Another thought from Stoicism is that pretty much any situation that you're in can be seen as beneficial because you have complete control over your mind and how you view your situation. I'm sure you're familiar with Nelson Mandela. He was wrongfully sent to prison for speaking his mind about the horrors of apartheid. And it could have been a moment that broke him, that he succumbed to the isolation and pain of loneliness, being in prison, one of the worst things a human being can go through nowadays. And yet, he didn't break because he had control over his mind and his perspective. And he was able to build himself up to the point where when he came out, arguably, he was a better man than when he went in. No malice, no hatred for the world around him. So for this everyday example for us, how can this period of loneliness be beneficial to us? Well, I like to think of it like a reset button. This point of loneliness is where we'll skyrocket our progress through life, our growth, because now we don't have as much holding us back. So one of the things that we should absolutely be doing is keeping ourselves busy, whether that's through schoolwork, whether that's through actual work, like your job, whether that's through a side project, a part-time job. The ability to keep yourself busy doing work, especially work that you actually care about, like the projects, like the passion ideas, are what can subdue that creeping feeling of loneliness because you have other things to think about. And of course, you need to make sure that you have a good self-esteem. And of course, it's easy for me to say that, but how do you actually build up a good self-esteem? Well, there's this little phrase that I always like to repeat, which is competence breeds confidence. You need to get good at something. Whether that's like studying, whether that is some sort of sport, whether that is a skill like public speaking, like, I don't know, content creation. It can be anything. Preferably one that actually does benefit you though. Like, you know, it's cool to be good at knitting, but if it doesn't actively serve you, then, well, even that, honestly. I mean, if you are good at knitting, that is pretty cool. And I'm sure you could figure out a way to let that serve you. But the point is that when you have something to be confident in, naturally, you start to feel better about yourself. The person who can't do anything but believes in themselves, and the person that can do things very well and believes in themselves, one is delusional, one is confident. And I know which one you want to be. And of course, you're gonna make tons of mistakes along the way. Don't think that you're gonna be perfect on the first try. But you understand that the mistakes are what propel you forward. Every single time you make a mistake, you should think, this is good. What can I learn from this? How can I make sure I do better next time? The person that gets it easy on the first try will completely take it for granted and often make a stupid mistake that costs them way more. Whereas the person that constantly made mistakes and grew and grew and learned from every one of them, they will become unbreakable. So, of course, don't fear mistakes. Be excited about them. Now, of course, the toughest part in our idea, because we are leading a social movement here. So of course I can tell you to do all of these things, like make a good goal, work hard, but ultimately you want connections, you want friendships with other people. Who doesn't? It's natural to us. We're human beings. So how can we do this? Well, like I said, I know it's going to be difficult, but you need to go out there and find it. But I don't mean just aimlessly wandering around a city, just trying to look for like your next best friend. Of course not. Be strategic with it. Go to like specific sports teams, or join specific sports teams, go to specific clubs, but make sure it's places you actually enjoy. If you don't like sports, don't go and join a basketball team just to try to make friends. Because even if you do meet people there, you don't have that much in common with them. Whereas if you are a fan of books, joining a book club would be beneficial to you because it's likely you'll meet people that vibe with you. If you're into karate and you decide to join a karate dojo, that would be beneficial because you're meeting people who are like-minded. That's what I did. And I know this is going to take time, okay? This is not going to be some overnight thing where instantly you end up meeting like 5 new people and you got a whole like losers club with you. Instead, think of this as a long-term thing. Over the time, you go to places that you yourself already enjoy, and then you end up meeting people there because you go there regularly. Again, meeting people on the first try may be a bit tough, but going there consistently, absolutely, I believe you'll find people. And overall, that's it. That is my full guide, you could say, on how to break out of this like pit of loneliness using stoicism and making it serve you. So if you watch to the end of this, comment down below maybe something that you could do or want to do to break out of this loneliness, or any other suggestions that you have for video topics that you would like me to cover. And overall, I hope you have a great day, and remember, take action, learn from failure. See ya.